or an apology?
Fuck Robin! Fuck Robin! Fuck Robin! Fuck Robin!
Squad. For today's thingy, I wanted to discuss apology. I wanted to do an apology talk. Why would you want to do an apology talk? Well, I may or may not have said some harsh things about a llama in some capacity. And within those harsh statements, I may or may not feel a sense of, I wouldn't call it regret. I wouldn't call it remorse. I would say you owe an apology. Why? You're not answering the question. Like that Buddha Dhammapada shit, just to say harsh things to someone in general isn't necessarily, just harshness to someone in general isn't necessarily the way to behave. And I think that's what it comes down to as to why I feel the need to make an apology. And I think that's why apologies exist in the first place. It's just for when you more or less do some out of line kind of shit. That's what they have apologies for. Oh shit. Let's Google the etymology of apology. I think it's going to be... Okay, let's try and guess it. Apology. Okay, you have an apostle. Apostle. Okay, A means not. Apology, theology. So it's an ology. It's an ideology. Okay, an apology is a particular kind of ideology. Maybe it's like a... Say when somebody's like, fuck, what's that word? When they're they're a whatever, it means asexual. There's something like that. It means like they're neutral to it. So say if you do an apology, maybe it means you're like neutral to a particular kind of ideology. Maybe it means like you're neutral, you're indifferent. You're like an A thinker. You don't think and or consider. You're not considerate. It's like it's a way of thinking that leads to having to be an A. This could all be bullshit. This is just me going off the top of what I think the etymology of apology is type shit. I think the A part means you don't do it, and the ology part of apology is like a way of thinking, which means you don't do and or say and engage in a way of thinking, which consistently puts you in a point to where you have to like go back and apologize because you're apology. Let's Google it. Oh, Pornhub's still up. Has that ever happened to you before? Where you go on your and you pull out your phone in public, but you like on Pornhub or something? I feel like that happens to a lot of people in today's culture. I feel like that should get discussed more. Like, everybody does that. I know my friend, whatchamacallit, that happened to. He says he has a fear that, like, somehow, like, he X'd out, but somehow he'll be, like, in public, and I don't know, somebody, the porn will just start playing. And I guess that could happen. Because I remember I was at this Mediterranean restaurant. Actually, speaking of just trying to, some DIY, get money yourself kind of thing. This Mediterranean restaurant I was at, this dude, he just did a bunch of weird ass shit, man. He had like a junkyard. He had a Mediterranean restaurant. I think he had a bit of a gambling habit also. My point is, what was the point? At the restaurant, his kid was clearly watching porn at the restaurant. You know how when you hear porn sounds like, it sounds like somebody's watching porn? He totally had one of those situations where, that happened, where the whatchamacallit, where his porn was playing at the dinner table. I don't think anybody noticed. I don't know if anybody noticed. Nobody decided to pay attention. But I guess it could happen then. That's yet to happen to me. I've never had like my porn revealed in public or anything like that. Definitely exposed myself in public, but not in that sense. What's the weirdest shit you ever did in public? Yeah. Apology. Dang, what is the weirdest shit you ever did in public? You just said it. Have your dick out in public. Well, not really exposure. You know, is it okay? Is it okay? If you have your dick out in public via, like, say you're just getting down, right? Say you're getting a blowjob movie theater type shit. Is that creepy? Question. Is that creepy? It's a common cliche you hear about in American culture. It is a common cliche. But isn't that technically indecent exposure? Isn't that just technically like exposing yourself in public though? One time I tried to piss in front of a window, but that was when I was like a little kid. I just had to take a piss. That doesn't count. So wouldn't that be indecent exposure? So if you're fooling around the movie theater, or if you're making out in public, wouldn't that technically be like some sort of indecent exposure in some capacity? Like, remember in school when you were in high school, they had that whatchamacallit to where you couldn't be all up in each other in high school? You couldn't just like have your dick on your girlfriend in high school. Remember that? Because there's a certain ideology behind it. But doesn't that apply to society in general? How the fuck did we get here? Or how the fuck did I get here? It had to do with the apology, etymology, and then something about, fuck it, I forgot the thing up. Apology, it means apo, away. And then that's a Greek thing. And then Greek logia. It means away logic? A speech in one's own defense. Huh. Interesting. Why is that interesting? Because your guess was that the A means something as far as removal. Removal from the word apology. Whatever that fucking means. And apparently it's one's own speech in one's defense. Interesting. So there is that idea of separation. But what's the apology part? Apparently what we call apology, apparently that part comes straight up from France. Mid-16th century, denoting a formal defense against an accusation from French apology, or via Latin Greek apologia, a speech in one's own defense, from apo, away, plus logia, see logi. I honestly need more details than that. I motherfucking love etymology. Etymology's my shit. Yo, shout out etymon. Shout out etymonline.com. I can't say it. It's an etymology thing. Apology, it's a noun. Early 15th century, a defense slash justification. So you're telling me an apology isn't really even saying I'm sorry? It's mostly just defending your asshole actions? I guess it's an explanation. It's not as loving as a word as I thought it was. It's just more so an explanation. From late Latin, apologia. From Greek, apologia, a speech in defense. From apologistethai, to speak in one's defense. From apologos. I wonder if it's related to the Galapagos Islands. It can't be related to the Galapagos Islands. From apologakagos, an account, story. From apo, away from apo. See lecture. Long speech. Interesting. Logos means speech, apparently. That's where the Apollo... Oh! An account and story. Away. That's what I don't understand. Is the away part related to its one's own account? Is that where the away part comes from? Like being stranded on an island away from everyone type shit? The original English sense of self-justification yielded a meaning, frank expression of regret for wrong done. Okay, there you go. See, that idea that I associated apparently first comes out in the 1590s, where it's like, I'm sorry. But this was not the main sense until the 18th century. What the fuck? People just learned to be like heartfelt apologies. So the concept of heartfelt apology may have not necessarily even been as poppin' until the 1800s. The old sense has tended to shift from Latin, from apologia. The original sense of the English is self-justification, and it means a frank expression of regret for wrong done. First recorded in 1590, but it wasn't mainly used until 18th century. Like the 1700s, until they started saying I'm sorry, or an heartfelt apology. Huh. Damn.
Fuck Robin!